When Women Speak and New Jersey Poetry Events presents When People Speak, Poetry and Conversation with pop-up poetry guests. Our pop-up poetry lineup will be
James, who's up next? We can hold that spot for Lyle.
Yeah, indeed. We got Myra McDonald next.
Okay, bring Myra up to the stage. Hey, Myra.
Hey.
Hey, how is it going, Myra? It's good to see you on our stage here at When People Speak. Poet of the Year. How have you been?
I've been okay making it through this remote learning world that I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The life of the educator and
Life of the
parents.
educator.
Yeah, I mean, it started out okay. Now I think it's developing into its own state of nightmare-ish. All of that. It's like a scary movie, and I want to get out now. I want to get out now. So let me just tell the audience out there who they have the pleasure of having in front of them this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Myra McDonald. Myra has been performing spoken word since 2002. She has performed across the United States and has competed in the New Jerusalem team. Myra has also taken to the stage in various productions, including A Raisin in the Sun and The Colored Museum. In fact, I was in the audience for the Colored Museum, clapping my head off as Myra was on stage, just doing what she does naturally. She's a beautiful artist, and her poetry is just as beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Myra McDonald. Hey, Myra.
Hey.
I'm going to jump off this stage and allow you to have it all to yourself so that the people can experience the level, the caliber of not only a lady you are, but a poet as well. I'll see you in a minute, Myra.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to actually do a piece that I've been trying to work on and write since James asked me to kind of come on in here. I said, you know what? I'm going to put some new stuff out there because I haven't been writing. And I've been trying to get some words out the way I used to, and it just hasn't, I haven't been inspired in the same way, but I've been working on this piece, so I'm going to share this with you all today. And this is called Mirrors. Women, we see ourselves inside reflected rainbows of light, hiding our flaws and imperfections behind a polished surface that bears no traces of our insecurities. We have forgotten the language of innocence. Once little girls now metamorphosized into women, bearing the burden of unhealed wounds and scars left behind by preconceived notions. Reflections of symmetrical images unleash the cries we are too afraid to let anyone else hear. We dust off the tarnishes and scars left behind by bad experiences and broken promises, and shine bright like diamonds found in rough patches of the unearthed dirt. Reflections mimic the hurt and bury well-kept secrets. We give our everything to everyone else, bear the pain and sacrifice so that the ones we love don't go without. We are the best shields of protection because we know how to handle the pain. We refrain from speaking our piece at times in order to keep the peace, but don't piss us off too much because we know how to say what's on our minds. See, behind this perfectly reflected image lies the soul of a woman. Untold stories locked within the mouths that went silent long ago. Woman. She looked in the mirror and once saw beauty that seemed ageless, faceless, lacking the traces of raising kids, taking care of her family, but often forgetting the importance of taking care of herself. Behind the tiny fractures of light, her soul has grown dim, heavy with the burdens of trying to constantly be superwoman, even when she seems powerless. Nevertheless, she looks back at the woman, staring into her eyes, and there lies the essence of who she is, kept deep inside these mirrors. Thank you.
My statement to you was, did you write that just for me? Because I felt like it was you were speaking to me.
You know, I've been trying to get out of my bubble, my place that I've been in without like not writing, not just putting any paper to the pen together. And when James, like I said, when James said, "Oh, Myra, would you come on? Would you jump on a show?" I said, "You know what? I'm not gonna go on unless I bring something else." And this was inspiration for me. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna write. I'm gonna put something out there." And just thinking about all the stuff that's been going through my head and experiences, that I've had with friends who have been going through COVID and depression, and this life has been different. So this is what came out.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, are you still affiliated with what's the word on Cherry Street? Doing that kind of poetry? Well, I know that we're shut down because of COVID, but
Yeah.
just affiliated, that's another way of people experiencing the life of poets and having poetry shows with various artists. So like poetry is alive and kicking everywhere. And I know when I was coming out, you were instrumental with that, along with a few other poets. That's another very, very powerful venue. I'm glad that you didn't keep your pen stable, or let's say put down for an extended period of time. I'm glad that you picked it back up because we really enjoyed that last poem, and we're looking forward to many more. Thank you.
Thank you all for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you
James,
for,
any parting words?
yeah, thank you for being here. I always was a fan when I did hear you write. Definitely have a phenomenal presence about you, even when you perform. So it's good to hear that you're picking the pen back up. A lot of times it's just, I like to call it refueling, you know,
Mm.
when you have those moments where you're not writing, it's you're taking in the information and then it'll come back out, to the world, through your pen. So, just, I don't believe in writer's block. I just believe,
Yeah.
At all.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
was resting.
Yeah. Let's move this show right along. Who's next, James?
oh wow, I think it's the main event. It's time for the main event.
No, the main event. So can we pull her up on the stage so that I can introduce her properly?
Oh yeah, let's get her on up in here.
Hey, Nicki, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
All's good. All's well in the kingdom and the queendom, however you want to look at it. I'm ready to introduce you, girl. I've been waiting all night, so I'm gonna go ahead. This is Nicki, Nicole Davis. She's a brilliant, brilliant young poet. She is from Philadelphia, and she found her voice through poetry. She believes that it is a poet's job to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. But she also helps people to find themselves within her stanzas of her poetry. And after a long battle with self doubt, low esteem, and insecurities, Nicki D uses her childhood experiences, faith based interactions, and struggles as a single mom to promote a message of hope, self love, and self acceptance. Her list of publications include Return to Grace, Naked, Facing the Girl in the Mirror, and The Shy Girl Speaks. Aside from being an author, Nicki is the creator of Nicki D Apparel, a clothing company dedicated to helping both men and women alike find beauty within, a beauty that is far too overshadowed by the unrealistic standard of beauty the media displays. And Nicki D's Apparel is currently on in three sections, has three collections: Broken Crayons, Shy Girl Speaks, and Black Empowerment. And all of her books and merchandise can be found on NickiThePoet.org. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our stage none other than Nicki D herself. And she is a phenomenal shy, let me put an X in front of that, ex shy girl. Welcome to When People Speak, Nicki. How are you?
Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you guys for the invitation. I appreciate it.
We look for the best, we find the best, and then we showcase them on our stage. So now that I played you up, let the people see who Nicki D really is, a former shy girl. I'm headed off the stage. I'll see you in a second.
Okay. So, my name is Nicki D the Poet. I'm nothing but a former shy girl who found her voice through poetry. I now uses poetry to help others find their voice. My first piece on tonight is going to be called What It's Like to Be Black in a White America. I didn't know that by giving birth to my black son, I was actually giving birth to a target. I took the time out to give him a name, but by the time he would take his first breath, someone would have already reduced him to a number. To them, he'll never be Nolan Christian Davis Reeves. He'll just be another rebellious slave, another beast that needs to be tamed, another threat that needs to be eliminated in order to make America great. Like, the foundation of this nation wasn't built on blood-stained soil with chained hands. Goddamn. What it's like to be Black in a white America. They say that slavery is nothing but a tall tale that my ancestors tell just to pass the time. Like it's some type of urban a legend. Do you have text with tell it? White people treated Black people bad. This made Black people mad. We protested and boycotted. A man named Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream that we would all cut the crap and live in harmony and peace, but he was murdered. So that dream he never even lived to see. Now, this impacted the whole world, made the whole world sad, but eventually his murderer was jailed. And that was the end of racism, right? Like, we don't see the hooded sheets of their ancestors now hidden behind badges. I'm sorry, I mean tucked into hospital scrubs. I'm sorry again, I mean pinned into the silver by our educational system. Like, we're really dumb, and we don't see the hooded sheets of their ancestors now tucked into the ill-fitted suits that sit in the Oval Office, that sit on Senate, that sit in the House of Representatives. Like, we don't see the seats of their ancestors now pinned into these BS laws. Like, we don't know who the stand your ground law was meant to protect. Like, we don't know that we're the reasonable cause behind your stop and frisk. We're dead if we comply. We're dead if we resist. Goddamn. What it's like to be Black in a white America. You know, I could have been Breonna Taylor. That could have easily been me, both born in the summer of 93, both a little thick. Love to express our personalities with different weaves. Both working in healthcare throughout this whole quarantine and just need a night's sleep. But how can I possibly rest my bed on my pillow at night? How can I possibly get any disease when it's been over 8 months since her murder and her murderers are still roaming the street free? But yet, my timeline went back to normal. Y'all so easily forgot about her. What hope is there for me? What it's like to be Black in a white America. 2020 has been a rough year. And the thing that 2020 had brought to light that no other year had brought to light is the fact that a lot of people are fighting hidden battles that no one can see. And it's so often as a society that we look for trauma to be manufactured in the physical element that we don't really think about the trauma, the emotional trauma that's happening. And we don't really think about the power behind our words, and that words can hurt too. 6 stones may break my bones, but words, they hurt too. Have you ever tried to explain wounds that no one can see? It's so easy to spot a victim once blood has been shed, but what about me? Just because there's no x-ray, no CAT scan, no MRI machine that can easily detect my hurt doesn't make it any less real. There's no IV that can give me to replenish all the self-love that has been diminished, and even when this outer layer of skin has finished undoing the harm that he has done and has completely healed my heart, will never feel the same way again. There's no peroxide strong enough to erase the sting of his words. They always seem to trickle their way into my thoughts, and I remember every foul thing that he ever said. I remember every time we ever fought. It plays like a broken record over and over and over, and I wish someone would just change the channel. But he tried to band-aid it by saying he was sorry. He tried to sweep it under the rug by saying he was just mad. He even tried to blame the alcohol that he had as if it would magically erase the pain. But even Mr. Clean could see that I was already permanently stained. He would build me up just to tie me down. He would build me up just to tear me down. I got caught in this vicious cycle. And every time I finally thought enough was enough and I would pack my bags and prepare to leave, he would magically morph into the person that I wanted him to be. Or maybe I was just so blinded by his potential that I saw what I wanted to see. So every time something would happen, I would stay hoping and praying that this will be the finally be the time that he changed. But even a broken clock is right twice a day. And throughout my history of relationships, I would say before I reached like my mid-20s that I'm in now, it was this pattern of basically not setting boundaries, not letting the other person know what I wanted and what I would tolerate, and just basically accepting anything. But now when you know better, you do better, and we have self-love, you maneuver better in your relationship. So now I just tell people from the jump what I want and what I'm going to accept, and that I'm not a sneaky link. I'm not a sneaky link. I require phone calls, good morning text, flowers, and dates. Oh, is that too much for you? I'll give you two options. Come correct or get the fuck out my face. And I don't care what I allowed in the past, the woman I am today can't relate. You see, I'm more than a sneaky link. Sending heart-shaped emojis all up in my DM, writing me essays about how fine and chocolate I am, and everything you would love to do. But I checked my profile. Not one like, not one comment from you, I guess. Probably just basic your affection makes you uncomfortable. Which is funny because you sent me a picture of your erection even before you knew my name. You said you a fan of my work, that you love my poetry. But if you really watch my last couple of videos, you would know that I hate that shit. And I said it before, clearly you have problem with your comprehension. So let me say this shit again. I'm more than the fluffiness of my tits, the juiciness of my ass, or what is in between my thighs. So let me get this straight. You think you could tap this ass when you can't even double check the pitch? Truth be told, without a meaning of a mind, you can't even get her wet. Fuck you still doing in my DM for? You didn't get it through your thick skull yet? I'm more than a sneaky link, meaning if you don't think enough of me to text me throughout the day, don't text me after 10 p.m. asking me what I'm doing. I'm in bed, legs closed, being the child of God that Spencer and Marlene raised. You know, my biggest problem with you niggas of today? Number one, you don't know how to date. Half of y'all are crappy lay. Always accusing a female or wanting you for your money when you don't have a pot to piss in or want her to throw it out. Always so quick to pull little Johnny out. But what's your status? When was the last time you got tested? When was the last time you even saw a PCP walking around looking like a walking STD? What I'm gonna need you to do is stay the further distance away from me. Now, typically, I'm not a bitch. And I really, truly, honestly don't mean any disrespect. But if you think you ever have a chance of getting with Nick, I'm gonna need you to learn how to come correct. Thank you guys so much for listening. Myra, James, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Nicki, for being available and coming on at our request to When People Speak. Beautiful poetry, beautiful messages. The only thing that I have to ask you, or I'm going to request of you, is to please stop putting the falseness out there that you were once a shy girl. That no one in the world, no one believes that. I certainly do not. I'm sorry, I do not. But welcome to the world where people have the right to speak no matter what voice they have. Shy, introvert, extrovert, whatever you are, there's room for all of us here, especially in the world of poetry. You are a phenomenal woman and a phenomenal poet, and we thank you for blessing our stage.
Yeah, Nicki. Oh man. First of all, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your words. I just finished reading your book, uh, Shy Girl. The Shy Girl Speaks. And I must say, it was like, honestly, it kind of reminded me of my journey. A lot of people, they see James, they know James as this outgoing person, this outgoing poet, but poetry helped me to come out of my shell. And that's your story too. That poetry allowed you to tap into those places and reveal some raw, some relatable, even philosophical um, thoughts that you have. Um, and I wanted to kind of share um, some quotes that really reached out to me in your book. You have this poem called Cry Freedom. And this is like, this is phenomenal. Contemplating the existence of herself loosely, lacking a purpose, she hoped someone come save her. But this was real life, not a fairy tale, not a movie. There was no prince in shining armor. If she wanted a happy ever after, she would have wrote that ish. The only question, how does she get to it? And that stuck to me because sometimes like we find ourselves, I don't know, I know me personally, let me speak for myself. Um, we come, come to all these thoughts or all these experiences, and it's like, where do we begin? Where where do we, you know, just bring those thoughts and contrive those thoughts together to paint a picture of who we are or how we see the world? And that's what spoke out to me in that quote. And then you have another one. I have a
I
first
do
of all,
too. I
first
had
of all,
too.
there's so many quotables in your book, it's ridiculous. Like, I'm just gonna give like maybe two more, and I can't wait to hear Myra's. But this is from the poet, The Fixer. It says, "Should have left it at hello. The hint of arrogance in your voice should have sent neurons to my brain, alerting me of the danger that will soon arise. Or the way you licked your lips before you spoke. I guess you needed lubricant for your lies."
Mm. You better say it, girl.
Oh my
Say
goodness.
it. You
Oh
better
my
say
goodness.
it. Mm-hmm.
I want to hear Mira. What's the one what's the quotable you have?
Yeah, I was reading through some of the things that she had, and I came across this one. It was like, my voice, I love to play it safe, but deep down inside, it was always this part of me that was trying to escape. Like, I was going to take that and make that my own poem, but I figured you recognize it if you heard it again. That was great. That was great. Like, one thing I like about when people speak is that we give the artist the opportunity to not only read their work, but also to discuss their work, and also have an audience to connect with, because I'm sure there is someone out there that can relate to this, especially when you talk about the fact that you were once a shy, introverted type, and now you're on stage everywhere. Not only are you on stage, you have your own clothing line. Not only do you have that, but you also are a published author. And we have people in the chat. They're not even really sometimes worried about your words. Somebody had the nerve to say, "Girl, where'd you get that shirt?" So you're you're connecting with people on so many levels here. And I just want you to know, all jokes aside, that we appreciate you. We appreciate what you're out there doing. And most importantly, we appreciate you taking the time to be on When People Speak. So,
Indeed,
James,
indeed. I'm just showing, the people here her website. Once again, you can go to NickiDThePoet.org. And as you can see, she not only has apparel, but she also has words as well. You can get the paperback version of her book. She has 3 books: um, Naked Facing the Girl in the Mirror, Return to Grace, and The Shy Girl Speaks, which is her latest book. And you definitely want to support her. You want to get her work. I love the transparency, especially in The Shy Girl Speaks. I love the transparency. I love the fact that, you know, she reveals even her philosophical side too as well, throughout the book. And it's one of those books, honestly, that you can relate to, to something in there. Everyone can relate to something. Even love when she talks about spirituality and her journey, um, throughout the book, in a section of the book, which I found very touching and profound, and even reflective in my own journey as well. So, check her out once again, Nicki D, the poet.org.
Yeah, the audience is out there making up names for you. You got somebody calling you the poet.
A poet
Like,
turd.
yeah, not only is she a poet, she sells stuff. Yeah, and she's good at it. Her line is beautiful. I just want to just make one last statement in terms of being shy and a little bit not so sure of myself. When I first started actually sharing my work, I was always involved with poetry and writing and hosting many youth groups in the area of spoken word long before I started to share my work with the world. It's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing to bear your parts of you, most specifically your heart. So I can definitely relate to some of the things that you've stated in some of your quotes. It's one huge mountain to get over, to stand on stage and talk some stuff that you wrote from your innermost being. And I'm going to applaud you openly right here on our stage and let everybody know that that is a tremendous feat. And you did it, girl. Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys so much for having me, and thank you for your kind words about my book and
sure.
my line and everything. Most people don't believe I am shy, but I do have videos to prove it. Like I think last week I posted like a video. I had to be like 16 in church trying to recite a poem, and like you really could barely hear me. You could see like in my whole demeanor that I was shy, shaking, and everything. So it is true. If you ask
Mhm.
anybody who knew me growing up, like I wasn't shy, and I only been performing for like a year and a half. In July of 2021, it'll be 2 years.
Wow.
So I'm still like fairly new at like performing, but I've been writing since the age of 10, and
Well, keep doing what
yeah.
you do. Keep doing what you do. There's somebody out there that's connecting and in need of your words and also your inspiration. Thank you, Nikki. And see you again on When People Speak. Bye.
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me again.
All right. All right.
So, James, how we going to end off the evening? I got a couple of announcements. You got any?
Oh, oh, go ahead. Go ahead. By all means.
Phew. Well, the first one is then Nikki put her line up there. I got to get as savvy as Nikki is. But of course, you guys know about my book, Breathing Through Concrete. I am the author and the illustrator of this book of anthology of poems about some of the lives of children that I've met over the years, being a Newark Public School teacher. Again, it was written and illustrated by myself. You can pick it up on Amazon.com. That's my first announcement. My second announcement is I've had the privilege, the extreme honor of hosting several local artists in a gallery, which is featured on the cementgallery.org website and also virtually streamed on social media, Facebook, YouTube, and IG. My gallery is called And Justice for All. There are several artists, photographers, painters, also, there is a live performance aspect of it, which Lyle, who's just recently on our stage a few minutes ago, is a part of the collaborative effort of poets out there that were asked to perform and talk about what it means to hug the block, to empower your community, to uplift others. And that is the whole soul objective of When People Speak and When Women Speak, to empower those that are like us to be able to have their words spread and their poetry heard by an audience as beautiful as you guys out there. So please, when you have a moment, check out the cementgallery.org website. The exhibit is called And Justice for All. You can also Google it on YouTube, be sure to put my name, because there are a couple of Injustice for All, but if you put my name, you'll get the correct one, or you can just go on my page. I've posted it several times. I'll look forward to you guys purchasing some art and at least commenting on the film that was a part of the gallery. Thank you, James. Oh, one more thing. Sorry, James.
That's okay.
December 10th, put it in your calendars now, is the next When Women Speak program. And that's when women poets take up the stage and they tear it up and they share their words with the audience gathered to hear them live in a virtual platform. Thank you.
All right. And also just wanted to announce that any event concerning poetry in New Jersey, you can always go to NewJerseyPoetryEvents.com. Currently, I have T-shirts to support the website and future events coming up. And be a resource if you want to know what's going on, anything concerning poetry in New Jersey. NewJerseyPoetryEvents.com is your location. All right, so definitely check that out and support.
Hey, yeah, you know what else, James? We're always looking for talent. So if you are a poet, if you know of a poet that's phenomenal, hit us up, DM us, put it in our inbox, give us a name, a contact information, and we'll be sure to give them the space on one of our platforms, either When People Speak, or if they're a female poet, welcome to When Women Speak. Yes, we're looking for talent. Thank you.
And you can do that as well at whenpeoplespeak@gmail.com. So hit us up. All right. And this has been When People Speak 6, featuring Nicki the poet. And we had a phenomenal rosters of poets as well as musical artists. And we will have even more coming December, the last Tuesday of December. So stick with us because we're gonna continue to give you more shows.
Yep.
You have any final words, Amira?
Yeah, don't forget, any donation is a donation for the cause. $1, $2, $3, $5, anything is acceptable. And the Cash App information is being presented to you right now. We'd like to keep this venue going. We support local artists. We support local poets. We even now support some poets who are not so local. So we're looking forward to your support. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, help us out. There's the information right in front of you. And from our hearts to yours, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of When People Speak. See you next time.
See you next time.